It is the 41st millennium. Mankind battles for survival across the universe, besieged on all fronts by the heretic, the mutant, and the alien. In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. One faction of Space Marines stands amidst the chaos, the mightiest of the Emperor's warriors, and a beacon of light in the darkness. This legion, the 9th Legion of Adeptus Astartes, the Blood Angels.
Hello guys, good evening, good evening. There's a biologist, I sprayed one. I need to do some maths on the biologist this week. Anyway, good evening. We got some new rules today, or some previews today. So I wanted to very quickly talk them over. I've read the article once, we'll read it again. I also wanted to do this live. I could have just filmed this, like I could literally just gone and filmed it. But I figured I'd do it live, so if anyone thinks of anything super keen or interesting in chat, they can tell me. And then we can add your chat to my thoughts. Okay, but good evening everyone, thanks for tuning in. Face, Drysu, Mike, nice to see you guys. Carl, how's it going? Wargsbane, Eternal Crusader, a lot of people in chat already. Hello guys, what's up? What is happening? Okay, so it looks like we got a preview of like 3 of the detachments for Codex Space Marines. So let's just read it and we'll jump in with some things, because I was thinking of a few things already that are worth noting, right? So new detachment rules in Codex Space Marines. We get a first look at the first company and the Firestorm Assault Squad. They're also going to show a bit of Gladius in this attachment. Hey James, what's happening? Good evening. Jones, what's happening? So next Codex Space Marine is almost ready for release. This comes with a vast array of new rules for Angels of Death. In particular, 6 new detachments join Gladius, so it is correct. We're going to get 7 attachments. Adding opportunities for characterful themes. Or sorry, can't say it. Characterful? Is that a word? I don't think I've ever said that. Characterful thematic forces specializing in vanguard troops, lightning assaults, and close range firepower. Now, do you know what? We're going to get to Oath of Moment in just a second. First up, there's a major update. The Oath of Moment army rule is changing. You still select 1 unit every turn to be your target, but now you only reroll hits against them instead of hits and wounds. This will mean Space Marine players need to choose their target more carefully. There are new and updated skills across the faction that bring more opportunities to reroll wounds. And then there's a star, which means I guess if we go all the way to the end, they said wound rerolls were previously hard to find outside of Oath of Moment. So wound rerolls were previously hard to find outside Oath of Moment, and unless you're doing, I guess, like a let me think, like a lieutenant, which I don't know if I really rate lieutenants, but I think the thing that I was thinking about this, because everyone's jumping straight onto the Oath of Moment's been nerfed, right? Oath of Moment's been nerfed. That's what everyone's saying. This book needs to have been written 6 months ago. And on my stream last night, we figured out that Oath of Moment was first introduced about 6 months ago. Because this book will probably have been written in China. It needed to be finished, it needed to be printed, it needed to go on a ship, it needed to get shipped all around the world, right? So everybody's saying that Oath of Moment has been nerfed. And I'm thinking about this, and I'm thinking, probably not. Probably Oath of Moment was purposely put in as maybe a stopgap. Maybe I'm just trying to be too optimistic, but I think maybe Oath of Moment was put in with hits and wound rerolls as a stopgap until they got all the Space Marine detachments out. Hey, Jonesy, thanks so much for becoming a company champion. Super appreciate that. So yeah, that's what I think. I could be wrong. There's a small video here, but the video doesn't really tell you all that much. It's like a minute long. You can watch that on the GW website if you want. And then they start off with the first company task force, which is one of our new detachments. So this detachment gives you a great opportunity to get the most out of Terminators, Stern Guard, Blade Guard, Vanguard veterans. Their unique rule is extremist level threat, and it lets them single out one target for certain destruction once per game and lasts both you and your opponent's turn. So this basically changes Oath of Moment to be what it was before. Once per battle in your command phase, you can use this ability until the start of the next command phase. Each time a model in your army With Oath of Moment ability, makes an attack against your Oath of Moment target. You can reroll wounds as well. I was 3 of the 4 enhancements, like Iron Resolve, give your characters Feel No Pain abilities, allowing models to extend or boost their entire squad once per game. Their experience keeps them cool under pressure, and enemy charges find their attacks blunted by their legendary fortitude. So this guy can be put on a Terminator, Iron Resolve, and it gives him a 5-up Feel No Pain. However, once per battle, after the unit is selected as target for 1 or more attacks, the bearer can use this enhancement. If it does, until the end of the phase, the model's units have the 5-up Feel No Pain. So I guess you can give a whole squad of Terminators a 5-up Feel No Pain for a single phase once they've been targeted. And then they also showed a stratagem, which is Legendary Fortitude. So basically, if your Terminators, Blade Guards, Stern Guard, or Van Vets are targeted until the end of the turn, each time an attack is allocated to model this unit, you can -1 damage from that attack. So assuming that you still have Armor of Contempt, which I think they said you will have, you basically could do -1 damage and Armor of Contempt on a unit here. I was wondering, this first company did Task Force. Did they say anything about a limitation on what models were in the detachment? I skim-read the article earlier, and I assumed that they'd said a limitation, but I didn't notice it. So just before we move on, did they mention anywhere that the first company Task Force are limited in what you can put in the Task Force? Now we know why Space Marines became so cheap. Yeah, I'm trying to work out if the Oath of... because Oath of Moment basically let you kill 1 target every turn, right? Like, it just meant you pretty much always killed 1 target every turn. But if you still have full hit rerolls into that target, that's still pretty good. Twin Link Lightning Claws, Terminators look better, says Warplanes. That's a good point. The other thing I suppose you could say is the Thunder Strike. I've been singing the praises of a Thunder Strike for a few weeks now. The Thunder Strike could be a lot better here because +1 to wound for everything that's shooting your Oath of Moment target would be much better. There are no limitations on units and detachments. Okay, so I guess if you really do want to hang on to the wound rerolls from Oath of Moment, then you can do it with the detachment, Extremist level threat. It'd be interesting to see what else that attachment gets, because if that's all that a detachment gets, I actually don't know if it's that good. It's probably not that good. Okay. I agree about Oath of Moment. They probably boosted it temporarily. Yeah, I think they must have boosted Oath of Moment temporarily until they give the detachments more flavor. But I guess we'll see how much flavor they've got, because I was going to say, if you have to compare reroll to wounds to the Doctrines from the Gladius detachment, I feel like the Gladius detachment Doctrines are just as valuable, if not maybe more valuable than the reroll to wound. Reroll to wound is really nice, but if you're a Space Marine player, you can bring a lot of really high toughness stuff, or high strength stuff. Like you can bring Gladiator Lancers, you can bring Repulsors, you can bring Land Raiders, you can bring lots of las cannons. These things do benefit from reroll to wounds, but their wound rolls aren't that bad anyway. Do you think this is missing down to a minimum 1 on the strat on purpose? Oh, this... who knows, man. Until the end of the turn, each time attack is allocated to the model, subtract 1 from the damageristic characteristic of the model. Did they put in the designer's commentary? Did they fix this in the designer's commentary? I don't remember. Like, this rule in general, -1 damage, probably needs... I would expect that it has the caveat down to a minimum of 1. Right, like yes, you can't reduce damage by 1 down to 0. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to talk about, the Firestorm Assault detachment, and this is the one that actually had me sort of slightly interested. The remaining detachments can be found. The remaining detachments can be used by Space Marines of any chapter, but play into traits commonly associated with 6 founding factors who most closely follow Codex Astartes. So if you want to mount a static heavy defense in the mode of Imperial Fist, you're not obliged to paint your models yellow. So basically, we knew this anyway, right? You can paint your models however you want. You can use whatever detachment you want. I think that's a really good thing going forward. Likewise, Salamanders may be famous for their flame and melta power, but the Firestorm Assault Force offers opportunities for all kinds of close-range gunnery. Right, so let's look at Firestorm Assault. Their rule is close-range eradication. It grants assault keyword to all weapons, letting units advance without losing their ability to shoot. Once they get close enough, the extra pip of strength puts melee weapons over critical thresholds for damage. Range weapons equipped with the Adeptus Astartes models from your army have the assault ability, and each time an attack is made with such weapons that target a unit within 12 inches, add 1 to the strength characteristic. So this was a really interesting one, because I actually think +1 strength on a number of weapons would actually be really strong. And they go on to mention, like, Eradicators would have strength 10 melta rifles. If you use, like, let's say, like, the Gladiator Valiant, the one that's got the multi-meltas on it, the Gladiator Valiant already has strength 10 meltas. So in that case, you would get strength 11 meltas. But the real issue here is that they limit that to 12 inches. So, I mean, I think that's not great. I guess it's good for assault units, potentially, but I really like the extra strength. The thing that had me thinking about this was reserves, right? Because when you reserve a unit, you come in 9 inches away. So if you put, like, a Gladiator Valiant, I think that's the one that's got 4 multi-meltas at strength 10, and do you know what, we'll bring it up, because I'm guessing, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. 1 second. The Valiant. The Valiant is the one that no one played. It actually went down in points. Apparently I can't even spell Valiant, but that's fine. Gladiator Valiant. Here we go. Not the Reaper. I think the Reaper is trash. The Valiant gets strength 10 multi-meltas, so these will become strength 11 if you put them in from a reserve. Basically, 9 inches away from your enemy. And then you would have strength 11 again, twin Las Talon. So that's 2 shots twin linked, +1 to wound. Sorry, +1 to hit if you target the closest enemy monster or vehicle. So you get 4 multi-melta shots hitting on 3 strength 11, 2 Las Talons hitting on 2's strength 11. Interesting way to, you know, like, you could reserve this now. I thought that was the one model that jumped out at me. That is the unit. That's the only Space Marine unit with a strength 10 multi-melta. So that gives you a strength 11 multi-melta, and that's literally what it says in the article. It says, like, critical wound. What did it say? Once you get close enough, the extra pip of strength puts many weapons over the critical threshold for damage. Well, there's a lot of toughness 10 stuff in the meta. Like, a lot. You know, like, Armigers, toughness 10. Yes, Gladiators, toughness 10. Space Marine Dreadnoughts, toughness 10. I was going to say many tanks from other factions, toughness 10. So going to toughness 11 on those multi-meltas. Multi-meltas don't really kill armor anymore because they just don't have the strength. But strength 11 multi-meltas probably do kill armor. How about the Brutalis with the 4 meltas? Good question, good point. That's why I did this live, to see who came up with a good idea. Brutalis's multi-meltas are strength 9, I think? It's hard because every multi-melta has different strength, right? Yeah, so okay. So Brutalis, if you're just running Brutalis Dreadnoughts, they got much better, they got cheaper. If you're running Brutalis Dreadnoughts at the enemy, or you're reserving Brutalis Dreadnoughts, and you're bringing them in 9 inches away from the enemy, then you're... the Brutalis Dreadnought is 2 multi-meltas, right? No, 1 twin multi-melta. So, 2 shots, but twin-linked. Plasma Inceptors get a little bit more damage. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I guess Plasma Inceptors. The Hammer Strike has several strength 9 shots, which is like +1 strength. Likewise, the Redemptor macro plasmas enjoy +1 strength. Yeah, so there's a lot of weapons that I've said are trash because they're basically strength 9. Like, I would say a strength 9 weapon. Well, Power Fists are a good example as well. Like, most people, even with the +1 from Blood Angels, Power Fists on strength 9 are not that exciting. You need, if you're using Power Fists, with the removal of Oath of Moment, I guess, you 100% need to be using something with +1 to wound every time you use Power Fist, right? So if you can have those Strength 10 Meltas and you can have the Thunder Strike, suddenly you're probably not missing rerolls to wound because you're probably wounding everything on 2s. If you're Strength 10 and you got +1 to wound, or you're Strength 11 and you got +1 to wound, the Redeemers with Strength 7 are going to melt. That's their Heavy Flamers are going to be Strength 7. I guess the Ball Predator is going to be Strength 7 as well. So this one is, and then the interesting thing is every weapon is Assault. So like Ball Predators at the moment for Blood Angels have that stupid caveat where like if you shoot against infantry, you can assault, but if you shoot against anything else, you can't assault. Well, now it doesn't matter. Everything has Assault. So every weapon has Assault for every squad. I was actually thinking like Infernal Pistols are going to get an extra strength. Maybe that helps them. Maybe. Again, the Thunder Strike could help here as well. You could have Infernal Pistols with +1 strength, +1 to wound. Assault on those pistols will be nice as well, right? Potentially. I guess we'll see. This detachment looks interesting. I'm sure there's other weapons that I'm not figuring about. But yeah, I mean, even if you were fighting up against the toughest knights, you know, like Strength 12, Toughness 12 knights, +1 to strength on all your las cannons once you get in close is going to be nice as well. Those auto cannons could go to Strength 10 on stuff like Predators. The Predator Destructor also, now that I think about it, is Strength 5 to 6 on heavy bolters is a breakpoint. Strength 9 to 10 the auto cannon is another breakpoint. Yeah, there's a lot of breakpoints for ranged weaponry that are going to get a bonus from this. The caveat, I suppose, is the 12 inches. But then, as you go down this detachment, then you get onto the War-Tempered Artifice. So, while you're in that close, you might like to crack a few heads with your boosted melee weapons on your fightiest characters, and the War-Tempered Artifice provides that. Who doesn't love power swords that hit as hard as power fists? Well, I think that's irrelevant because we've agreed that Strength 8 isn't all that exciting, but an Adeptus Astartes infantry model only, add 3 to the strength characteristic of the bearer melee weapon. This is better than anything that Blood Angels get. Flat out way better. Because Blood Angels get like no relics that can give your character strength or anything like that. So this guy could be using the Bolt Storm Gauntlet for his attacks, and we were looking at this Gravis Captain on the stream last night, and he can have like 6 attacks with his Bolt Storm Gauntlet. Well, it's a Power Fist, but Captain and Gravis, or is it here he is. So he can have, where is it? He has a Power Fist, 5 attacks, Weapon Skill 2 up, 8. And then he can also have the Relic Fist. So again, Weapon Skill 2 up, 8. So this guy could suddenly go from 6 attacks, Strength 8 -2 to damage. And people are saying this guy's really good because he halves damage incoming and he can use a free stratagem. He suddenly goes to Strength 11. So 6 attacks, 2 up Weapon Skill, Strength 11. Now, that seems a hell of a lot. Again, that's 3 to strength is, you know, you talk about moving the point like 1 or 2. That looks really interesting. If you're advancing with Infernals, you'd want to be able to charge afterwards. Yeah, I don't know. And they mentioned that the Infernus squad in the article. Maybe I skimmed over it. But I don't know if I feel like the Infernus squad is all that exciting. Maybe actually he talked about the Infernus squad in his little video up here. I don't know if I rate the Infernus squad. I think the Ball Predator would be more interesting with the Strength 7 on the top cannon and the Strength 6 on the Heavy Flamers. You could also put this enhancement on a Jump Captain for Strength 12. How would you get Strength 12? Oh, because the Captain gives +1 strength by attaching to a unit. Yeah, so you could have Vanguard Veterans and you could have this guy with a Strength 12 Power Fist. He'd get 1 less attack, I guess. Or maybe even 2 less attacks. Like, I haven't really... I'm Captain with a jump pack. Haven't really been using a Captain with a jump pack this edition, to be honest. Power Fist. Okay, 5 attacks at Strength 12 with the Power Fist. I mean, that's pretty interesting, right? I mean, at that point, you might even want them with a Thunderhammer. I've been like staying the hell away from Thunderhammers. But if you're telling me your Thunderhammer is now Strength 12, Dev wounds, it is, maybe. This all sounds very good for Blood Angels. Yes, it does, James, doesn't it? Charges Captain out of Land Raider. I mean, you could definitely put him in a Land Raider. You could also put him in a Land Raider with a squad of like those Bolter and Scepters that everybody wants to have a look at with the with a -1 AP to the closest target and additional strength. The extra weapon attacks don't get any boosts, sadly. Why would they not get any boosts? I'm trying to think. Is there a caveat in the rules commentary about extra weapons not getting bonuses from your enhancements? If there is, I missed it. I mean, I haven't been playing any character that has that, so I guess maybe you're right, Luke. Someone in chat will probably confirm. It does say all melee weapons. It doesn't say a specific melee weapon. It just says all melee weapons. Alright, this attachment is also great for any chapter that likes to move quickly or smash vehicles in close combat. White Scars in particular don't get a lot of mileage from the Assault ability on their Outriders and Invaders, letting them position for future charges without losing... If I read this wrong. White Scars in particular get a lot of mileage from the Assault ability on their Outriders and Invaders, letting them position for future charges without losing vital power. So they kind of, I guess they're saying here that White Scars, there will be a detachment that still has advance and charge. They just, because I think if there wasn't an attachment that had advance and charge, they wouldn't be talking about how Outriders and Invaders get mileage from their assault abilities. Iron Hands players get plenty of Dreadnoughts that can reap the benefit of boosted strength even when locked in close combat thanks to Big Gun Never Tire rule. So I guess the Iron Hands Dreadnoughts are probably going to get something where all... Similar, Iron Hands used to have something where it was like they used to reroll ones to hit on heavy weapons. I'm guessing now they're going to get additional strength on heavy weapons. You can't get stuff like extra strength or AP on extra attacks, just additional attacks. Okay, perfect. So you would get 5 Power Fist at strength 12, and then your extra weapon is still strength 8. I still like it. I still think it's a really good detachment. Good detachment and a good relic. And I hadn't even, that's why I did this live, I hadn't even thought about giving this to a jump captain. Like, a jump captain with strength 12 on his melee weapon? Then, I mean, at that point, assuming he's hitting on 2s with a Power Fist, he's actually potentially able to do quite a bit of damage just by himself to a tank or something. Like, he could do 10 damage to a tank reasonably reliably, as long as if it was toughness 11 or less. He's hitting on 2s, he's wounding on 3s. So he could actually do a bit of damage to a tank. With no strats or anything like that. He's just strength 11. That's not what I said. They'd all be strength plus 3. The only thing you can't give weapons with the extra attacks is more attacks. Oh, right, then I'm really confused. I'll need to read the rules commentary if I ever get to using this guy. I do think this Gravis Captain, though, probably can do some work now. I'm just trying to decide. Last night we talked about giving the Gravis Captain a 5-up Feel No Pain because he has the potential to get half damage. So I'm trying to decide if half damage with a 5-up Feel No Pain on 6 wounds is better than plus 3 strength. Because I hadn't considered giving the Gravis Captain the extra Feel No... What? It's not called the Feel No Pain. Yeah, he's toughness 6, 6 wounds. And you can give him a 2-up save and a 5-up Feel No Pain from... Where's the thing? Artificer Armor. So 2-up save, 6 wounds, toughness 6, 5-up Feel No Pain, half damage. I mean, like, if you just want him to be super tanky, I think that's possibly better. But, I mean, strength 12 sounds good as well. Strength 11 for this guy. Alright. Microsoft Edge has been updated. Brilliant. So happy about that. Right. Then, what else does it say? Lastly, we returned to the Gladius Task Force. So they showed very little about the Gladius Task Force. They basically just said, It's returning with the same enhancement stratagems and combat doctrines. The Armor of Content stratagem is now found across all 7 Space Marine detachments. It's a Space Marine signature. So I guess Oath of Moment is no longer a signature. Armor of Contempt is our signature. And we'll be taking a lot more look at detachments Codex Space Marines later, so keep your Auspex trained on Warhammer Community for the next raft of reveals. So it's funny that they mentioned there's lots more ways to get rerolls to wound, but then didn't really show any of them. But they did show a very interesting detachment in the Firestorm Assault Force. Yeah, we live, Reziel. Not for long, though, just jumping in to look at the Firestorm detachment real quick. They've said all chapters will have access to what, Luke? Keep your Auspex trained sounds like a shout out to Auspex Tactics. I mean, Auspex Tactics is crushing it, dude. He's got like 200,000 followers. Good for him. What a guy. You can run Blood Angels in any of these attachments, and I think close range eradication looks very interesting. I think we're going to see a bunch of armies be able to benefit from close range eradication, I guess. Having all your range weapons across your entire army have assault and +1 strength within 12 inches, I think could be very interesting. I'm not entirely sure if I like, for example, like I don't think I like it with Eradicate. Like they call out Eradicators. I still don't know even if Eradicators have +1 strength within 12 inches if I think that that's the right unit for it. But like there's other units like the Gladiator Valiant I think suddenly becomes really interesting. Like all its guns go from strength 10 to strength 11 and it's probably very easy to get within. Well, you can just reserve your Gladiator Valiant, just bring it in 9 inches away and then all of his guns are strength 11, right? I think as well, maybe, because they basically said like they called out some of the units that were going away. I thought that was in this article. Maybe I read 2 articles today. Oh no, I think I watched a video from Auspex Tactics today actually, with the units that are going away. I think that I was going to say something else about this. 12 inches +1 strength for all weaponry. I don't know what. I thought there was something else I was going to say. I don't think anything like going from like. Yeah, maybe the plasmas is the other thing. Like Redemptor's plasma gets a lot more interesting if it's strength 10, doesn't it? The Land Raider becomes strong. I mean, the Redeemer becomes stronger. The Ball Predators become stronger. The multi-meltas on Land Raiders, they're usually strength 9, right? Or are they 10? They must be strength 9. So the multi-meltas on your Land Raiders, assuming your Land Raiders is going to charge centerboard, are suddenly strength 10. I think from moving to 9 to 10 is considerable because those not that anyone's running Desolation Marines anymore. But yeah, what about strength 15 Vindicators, I guess? What about teleporting? I was going to say, is there anything you could teleport with the Librarian Dreadnought that's going to get a lot of value out of +1 strength? Eradicators also have rerolls. Yeah, I mean, they do, I suppose. Yeah, okay, so Eradicators probably become quite a bit better. Like, if you were just going to teleport 3 Eradicators every turn with, like, a Librarian Dreadnought and put them 9 inches away from the enemy, so now they're strength 10 Meltas, then yeah, okay, that does actually seem a lot better. I mean, you'd wound, like, Terminators on 2s, you'd wound a bunch of vehicles on 4s with rerolls as opposed to 5s with rerolls. Yeah, I was trying to decide about aggressors. I was trying to decide about Centurions. I actually don't know the strength of Centurions Meltaguns. I assume it's 8 for Meltaguns, but I haven't really looked at it. I tend to play my Centurions with heavy bolt. With Flamers. Okay, do you know what? Maybe Centurions as well. If there's each Centurion strength 10. I mean, it's a lot better than strength 9. Interesting. Interesting. What part of aggressors do you think is good? Is the strength 5 on them? I had a thought about Desolation Marines, stick them in an Impulsor. I mean, I guess you could stick Desolation Marines in an Impulsor. Surf Song says, what do you think about Firestorm? That's literally why I did the video, Surf Song. I think it looks better than... I don't know if I think I prefer it to Gladius, but I think it hits a lot of breakpoints. There's a lot of... When you start breaking this down, it seems like there's a lot of weapons that will get really good with +1 to strength. And it seems like if you compare this to the Blood Angels +1 to strength in melee, +1 to strength in melee doesn't seem that useful, because I guess the breakpoints that we have in melee are crap. For example, chain swords become strength 5. Not that exciting. And Carmite swords become strength 6. Not that exciting. Power fists or thunder hammers become strength 9. Not that exciting. But like multi-meltas go from strength 9 to strength 10. That's pretty exciting. Las talons go from strength 10 to strength 11. Again, pretty exciting, right? Like it feels like the main melee weapons don't get a lot of benefit from +1 strength, but it feels like ranged weapons have Auspex Tactics on my channel for a game. If you get Auspex Tactics to come on my channel, Carl, go for it. I'll crush Auspex Tactics. He plays every army. He doesn't have the like. If you focus on one army, you're stronger. Trust me. Devastators with multi-meltas. Are multi-meltas and Devastators strength 9 now? I don't use Devastators. I probably just looked at them and went strength 9. I'm not interested. Devastators. Devastator Squad. Multi-meltas. Strength 9. Yeah, so like Librarian Dreadnought jumping people around 9 inches away +1 strength. I think it suddenly actually becomes really interesting. Really interesting. Yeah, Firestorm Detachment. I guess we'll as soon as more rules are shared, we'll go into it for sure. But yeah, I guess after I stop being live, which I'm going to be stopping in like next 5 minutes because I've got another video I need to work on for Friday. Oh, Master Effect, thank you so much for the $5. How did I miss that? Did it not even? It didn't pop up. Oh, it popped up now. How disappointed are you with the change to Oath? I don't think I'm disappointed at all. I think they must have known that they must have like. We looked on last night's stream. Oath was revealed. Hits and wounds rerolls in like March. That's when they revealed it. Everyone was saying this book needs to have been written 6 months ago to get it to print to be releasable. So they must have known around the same time they shared Oath of Moment as hits and wound rerolls that they were going to be putting on other detachments that Oath wasn't going to be hits and wounds rerolls. Now Space Marines just lost. Every unit in Space Marine Codex just got cheaper, right? Assault on everything also means doing actions on everything. That's very true as well, DTM. So that's a possible win-win for the Firestorm Detachment, man. Seems interesting. It really does. I guess we'll see. Unfortunately, Blood Angels aren't getting their codex right now. So probably the best way of playing Blood Angels when this book drops is going to be using one of the detachments in the new book, because the Blood Angels are still going to be using the index card, which will probably be badly out of date. And I don't even think they have even announced approximate dates for the Blood Angels codex whatsoever. I have awoken. So, thank you so much for the donation, by the way. I think they probably knew that. No, I'm convinced they knew that. But one other interesting thing, I suppose, would be like the first company get a lot of ways now to give whole units feel no pains and whole units -1 damage. So if we, if we haven't seen that many people playing Terminators yet, but Terminators do have Chain Fists that do have anti-vehicle 3-up. So being able to give -1 damage to all your Terminators. I remember how strong -1 damage was when Death Guard had it on all their Terminators. Like, removing Death Guard Terminators was nigh on impossible. I just ran away from them all the time. Every time I played Death Guard, I'd just kite them around the board. Because if you charge a squad of Death Guard Terminators, even with like full Chapter Master rerolls +1 to wound, you still didn't do anything. You barely did any damage to them. So Death Guard Terminators have even more strength. So I guess if Toughness 5 Terminators, -1 damage, 5 up, feel no pain. I mean, Terminators can have 4 wounds as well now if you give them the shields. And I've been saying, like, Terminators, I wouldn't give them the shields. I don't think it's worth it. But hey, maybe if you got Terminators with the shields, they're 4 wounds a model, and they're -1 damage, and they're a 5 up, feel no pain, and they're Toughness 5, that's going to be fucking difficult to deal with. God damn it, I just swore as well. I said to myself before I got on, I was like, I'm not going to swear, because I keep demonetizing my own streams. I'm going to be so busy when the Codex drops, I won't be able to play enough games. I don't get to play enough games as it is, DTM. I've only played like half the armies in 10th edition. Maybe I've played like 8 or 9 different armies. There's too many armies in 40k now. There's like 20 different armies before you even start throwing in on all the sub-factions. It'd take me, if I could play a different army every week, which I can't do anyway because I don't have all the armies in my meta, it would take me a whole year to play one game against every army, and at that point I'd have forgotten what I did 52 weeks ago, right? I think I'm in a different country than Candace, to be honest, Christopher, but I mean, if people are, like, James came and visited me, and he lives in Chicago, so he was in Scotland, and he just rocked, I don't know, he actually shipped, like, his Dark Eldar army across the world to give me a game, so, more power to James. I think he was in the chat just a few minutes ago as well. Cool, but yeah, so leave me any comments on units that could get even better that we haven't touched on. I guess there will be another couple of community reveal articles when they come out. I'll jump on if I have time, and we could do a live stream on those ones as well. Yeah, I mean, if I didn't have a full-time, like, I have so many ideas for videos I can make. I have a full-time job and I get 2 kids, guys. It's impossible. I literally every day or something I have an idea. I email myself the idea. Like, hey, this would be a good idea for a video, and then it's like I still don't get time to make half the videos I want to. Mike, you're welcome to come up anytime you want to drive for about 8 hours to come play a game of Warhammer. 8 hours both directions, right? We'll do it. By the time you get back around to the start, all the points would have changed. Yeah, they will have changed. So, Strike Force, Firestorm Assault Force. I guess it's kind of a Imperial Fist / Salamander type force, but I think that could be really interesting. And the fact that it's got some... It seems interesting that it's got this really powerful ranged ability, but then +3 strength in melee. I've been so upset about the poor strength that Space Marine units have in melee. And being able to get like a jump pack captain with strength 12 on a jump pack captain with a power fist suddenly becomes pretty interesting. Remember, your +1 to strength is only within 12 inches. So it's almost like you would need the Thunder Strike to be buffing stuff, Balanced Hydra, from range, and then get everything in range. But Melta becomes a hell of a lot more interesting, for sure. And certain tanks, and maybe even some plasmas, like Redemptor Dreadnoughts, suddenly become a bit more interesting. And remember, this is all weapons +1 strength. So when I'm thinking about Redemptor, I'm thinking about the plasma cannon. But hey, it's got a bunch of other cannons on there. Even stuff that's kind of garbage, like rocket pods, would become strength 9 and stuff. Strength 15 Vindicator, I don't think makes much difference. There's not much difference between 14 and 15. Because most characters are melee focused, enhancement needs to be melee boosted. Ain't no point of captain. Buffing is 1 bolt pistol shot. Yeah, I mean, I guess. But at the same time, I think that's good. I think that's really interesting, where it's like, hey, James, the Librarian Bloodlance looks great, and then jumping Centurions. Yeah, Centurions, anything that can carry Melta-guns or Melta weaponry will, and then I think this is a detachment that's really good with, like, before I came on stream, I was like, yeah, I'm not interested in Eradicators. I don't think the Strength 10 Melta Rifles is all that interesting. But I was like, actually, if I can just have 3 Eradicators are pretty cheap now, right? I think they put them down in cost again. Let me check. Is Eradicators, am I thinking right? Are they 90 points? 95 points? Something like that? Eradicators, I can't spell it. Oh, god damn it. ERID. Apparently I can't spell Eradicators. Someone spell Eradicators for me. ERAD? Thought it was ID. AD, okay. 95 points. 95 points to just put basically like 2 Melta rifles and a multi-Melta at strength 10. They'd be 9.1 inches away, so that's fine. But you're re-rolling hits, wounds, and damage. Now, before I thought to myself, re-rolling wounds on a 5-up, because let's face it, Eradicators are probably going to go for vehicles, right? So like strength 9, you'll be wounding vehicles on 5s. Strength 10, you're either wounding them on... If you go at, like, if your Eradicators are at strength 10, then you would typically put them in a position to shoot strength 10 enemies or toughness 10 enemies. So you give them an optimal target, right? So you wound on 4s with full rerolls. That's suddenly suddenly becomes interesting. And Centurions, because Centurions Melta guns are twin linked, they become interesting again. I've held off for the longest time on buying 3 more Centurions, but now maybe is the time. Especially because the Assault Centurions went down to 150 points. They are toughness 7. I seem to be late for the first company detachment. I see it's kind of bad. I don't know if it is kind of bad. If you've got multiple ways of giving units 5-up feel no pains, and you've got a strat that can make an entire unit of Terminators, Blade Guard, I say Stern Guard as well, but I don't really run Stern Guard, or Van Vets, Blade Guard, Terminators, or Van Vets, all units that are played by Blood Angels, if you can make them -1 damage, could be really strong. You know, like Vanguard Vets with jump packs went down in points. Like, you run 10 of them for 210 points. You can -1 damage the second they're shot at. They got a 4-up invuln. I assume you could put a Sanguinary Priest with them to give them a 5-up invuln as well. Sorry, not a 5-up invuln, a 5-up feel no pain. So, yeah, maybe there's a play there with 10 Vanguard Vets with a Sanguinary Priest in the first company. -1 damage the second they're shot at. It's a battle tactic stratagem as well, so attach a captain to it, so you can play it for free, so the second they shoot your Vanguard veterans, they're -1 damage, 4-up invulnerable save, 5-up feel no pain. This is precisely why I did this live rather than just me film it, because I would have missed all this shit. You guys, plus that captain could have strength 12 power fist, because reasons, I guess. Any thoughts on the Storm Raven? People keep asking about the Storm Raven. I think the Land Raider is just better. Because you can put Dreadnoughts in Strategic Reserve, I don't think there's almost any advantage putting them in a Storm Raven. I think you just take a Land Raider if you want to spend 250 points. The Land Raider has more firepower, it has more survivability, it's got the assault ramp so you can charge once it's moved. It's not when they're shot at, it's anti-melee. Good coin, it's anti-melee. Okay. But hey, I mean, -1 damage in melee. I mean, arguably you probably take more damage in melee than being shot at, right? But I don't mind that at all. For example, Angron charges you in. Well, Angron's like 18 attacks, strength 8, hitting on 2s, wounding on 2s. So Angron's killing a bunch of your guys. Statistically, I guess 18. I mean, Angron can also get full hits to rerolls, or full rerolls to hit. Sorry. So even if he doesn't have full rerolls to hit, you're still having to take like 12.5 saves from Angrons. So because he's 2 damage, that's literally killing Well, if you save on your Storm Shield. So he goes from killing 6 Vanguard veterans to killing 3 for 1 CP. Angron can still reroll his hits. He has to pick one of 3 things, Reziel. He gives an aura of +1 to charge. He gives an aura of reroll hits to 1 or something like that. Or he gives an aura of different attacks. But he can still reroll his hits. I'm like 90% sure. I played against him once. If he can't reroll his hits, then Brett cheated against me. Go for it, Painting. Good evening. How are you? Death Guard have the same strat. The limitation is it's 2 CP. Yeah, 1 CP for -1 damage on a. I think that makes Terminator. I already thought Blade Guard were pretty good. I think Vanguard vets are worth trying at 105 points. I haven't tried them yet. Obviously, I think they went down from 130 to 105, so it's like a 20% point reduction. And Terminators. I think Terminators are also decent. I'm just trying to decide if I guess Thunderhammer Terminators. I was going to say, I need to look at it. I haven't run a Terminator Ancient. What's a Terminator Ancient even do these days? Can you do that? Is it called an Ancient and Terminator Armor? I never know what it's either. Yeah. Sometimes it's like Ancient and Terminator Armor. While this model is a unit, add 1 to the objective control. While this model is leading unit, each time the model makes an attack, add 1 to the hit roll if it's below starting strength, add 1 to the wound roll as well if it's below starting strength. So you have a Terminator Ancient leading 10 Thunderhammer Terminators that can be -1 damage. The second they lose a guy, they're adding 1 to the hit roll. The second they go below half strength, they're adding 1 to the wound roll. Yeah, and I mean they still get full Oath of Moment from that first. I think what they've released here looks pretty interesting. James says he's real bummed to lose Relic Terminators. Yeah, I mean it's a bummer to lose all the Firstborn stuff, James. To be brutally honest, I've lost way too many units this year. But yeah, I mean, I think at this point I'm kind of over losing units. I was really upset for a little while. Now I'm just getting on with things because I think that's all you can do, right? Okay, so hit the like button, guys, if you enjoyed this video. I'm going to be back later I'm going to be back on Wednesday night to play against Death Guard. First game against Death Guard with the new rules. So I'd love it if some of you guys come and join that game against Death Guard. It'll be on around this time on Wednesday night. Can you attach a Terminator Ancient to a Terminator Captain? I think the Ancient means that. Oh, you're right. You can attach a Captain and an Ancient. I didn't realize that. Haven't seen many people do that, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, if Terminators could have -1 damage in melee and a 5-up feel no pain, that sounds pretty interesting. Full hits and wounds reroll still from Oath. Yeah, I haven't run. I ran 10 Terminators once, but I ran it into pre-nerf Knights, and I didn't really like it. But pre-nerf Knights were ridiculous. So Knights have changed an awful lot since then. I need to get another game against Knights. I got Death Guard this week. I got Votan next week. Apparently Votan are much, much stronger. Colin's playing the Death Guard this week, Candice, and I think Andrew's going to play the Votan next week. Andrew's picking the Votan because they're apparently much, much stronger, and Andrew's getting back on the meta, on the train of picking the strongest things. Pumped that you've got a positive outlook. Yeah, I mean, I generally have a positive outlook. I think the thing is, if the Blood Angel's detachment is poor, which I think it is a little bit, then I think the best thing you can do in the interim is find the strongest detachment that synergizes what we've got. And we do have some really lovely tools, like the Librarian Dreadnought teleporting units around. Like, we already saw someone win a tournament with Desolation Marines using that. So now if a bunch of stuff that was not good before, or maybe not good is the wrong word, but average before, like plasma weaponry or something. Well, plasma weaponry now can be strength +1, so strength 10 in certain situations, or strength 9 in other situations. Like, it just I think it just gives us like lots of new interesting options. Pedro says I play Dark Angels and the -1 damage strat melee is useless unless you're playing Custodes and not versus Trajan Valoris. I don't know if I would say -1 damage in melee is useless. Depends on what you're playing against. Like I said, I played against Angron a few weeks ago. Trust me, I would have loved -1 damage in melee. Literally half his damage output when he does those 18 sweeps, I guess. Bloodletters as well. Strength 5 -2 damage. He was running 2 10-man squads of Bloodletters. If I can half their damage in melee, they don't have guns. They just have melee. So if you can half the damage in melee, I think that's pretty good as well. I guess yes. Sometimes I guess you'll come into an army that has all 1 damage or has all 3 damage, and -1 damage means nothing. But I wouldn't say -1 damage is useless, because I used to run a lot of Redemptor Dreadnoughts last edition, and sometimes that -1 damage was clutch, right? But yeah, get creative. That's the thing. 100%. Let's get creative. All right, I'm taking off. I'll catch you guys Wednesday night. I'll be back with a tactics video on Friday. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like. We'll cover other detachments when we see them. And leave me a comment if there's any combos that we missed that you guys have thought of that are really strong. Enjoy your evening, guys. This is definitely a positive, I think. Space Marine Codex is apparently going to be out to pre-order in a couple of weeks' time, so be ready for it. Thanks for the support tonight. A couple of new members and super chats, much appreciated. I'll catch you guys on Wednesday. All right, peace.
Greetings, brothers. Welcome to the Blood Angels Commander channel.